Hello everyone, Storm here, and today we are doing the final collaboration of June. And unlike the last one, I am starting this what if off, and Ultimate ADJ will be finishing it. So make sure you go over to his channel and watch part 2 when it's made. And before we start, be sure to join the Discord and follow me on Twitter as well, and all links are in the description. Now this what if doesn't seem like it would change much, but in reality, it actually really changes a lot. Hence why it is a two-parter collab. What if Raditz killed Piccolo instead? So let's say Raditz barely knocks Goku off of him, and the special beam cannon only hits his shoulder, damaging him quite a bit, and in anger, he puts his hand through Piccolo's chest, killing him. But that's when Krillin arrives, without Roshi and Bulma this time, and surprise kicks Raditz in the face, with Goku using all of his energy for one last Kamehameha, finishing him, though not atomizing him, as it was only enough to put him down, not enough to completely vaporize him. Raditz tells them that Vegeta and Nappa will arrive in about a year, and with that, Goku and Gohan are taken to Korin's to get Senzu Beans, and Goku goes to the lookout to ask Popo if there is any way they can bring Kami back, as now he is dead along with Piccolo. And they may need to bring someone back to life later in the future, such as with the upcoming Saiyan battle. Popo explains Kami had a ship that needs repairing, so Goku trains with Krillin until a few weeks later when Bulma has finally fixed it up. With that, Goku, Krillin, and Bulma arrive on Namek, and peacefully collect the Dragon Balls. Eventually, they find Guru and get the last ball, wishing Kami back. And just to say, the reason they're going to Namek is because that's pretty much their best hope. I mean, they have really no other option. Going to Namek and hoping that there were Dragon Balls was the best bet, and conveniently enough, it was true. This makes the Elder think that they are very noble for trying to save Earth by wishing Kami back, as they would explain all the details to him just so that way he would know that they aren't evil or mean-spirited. And so, because he thinks they're noble for trying to save Earth, he unlocks Goku's and Krillin's potential. And Goku is amazed at their increases, and asks Guru to wish Kami, Piccolo, Tenshinhan, Yamcha, Chaozu, Chi-Chi, and Gohan all Namek. Everybody besides Chi-Chi will be getting their potentials unlocked, including Piccolo. Now, Guru definitely does sense that Piccolo is an evil person, but Goku assures him that he will be an extreme help to him in the Saiyan fight if he gets this boost, and if not, he will just be a detriment. So, Guru obliges and unlocks his potential as well. The reason they're trying to boost Kami is because the dragon is only as powerful as the creator. So if you boost Kami up significantly, then the Dragon Balls will be insanely more powerful, and they will not be as restricted. So because of that, Shenron will grant 3 wishes earlier. And Chi-Chi is not getting her potential unlocked because Goku is actually having to convince her, hey, Chi-Chi, Gohan getting his potential unlocked is not so bad because think about it. He can still be a scholar, but he just has this little bit of strength. He doesn't need to train anymore, because by this point, nobody on Earth can really affect him, besides the Z Fighters. Chi-Chi obliges, lets him get his potential unlocked, and that is it. So in terms of power, after the entire unlock, so this is the initial to the finish, not just the initial. So Kami is going to 6,400, Goku is going to 15,000, Piccolo is going to 12,000, Tenshinhan at 7,800, Krillin at 6,000, Yamcha at 5,100, Chaozu at 2,400, and Gohan at 142. Remember that Gohan is very weak in this case because he hasn't done any training. He only got the Zenkai from fighting Raditz, and that was it. So with that, the gang thanks Guru, and they all get back on the ship and head back to Earth to begin their training. And fair warning, those will probably be the only power levels I say verbally in this video, so make sure you are actually watching the screen, or you may miss something important, as we are covering all of Z in this part. So with that, they all begin their training with Popo, and with each other for the most part, and Piccolo trains alone, obviously. So in this case, Piccolo is not having the sparring partner of Gohan, and the Kami training is not as intense. So honestly, because of that, the Z Fighters aren't getting that big of a boost. And Goku at his max is only going to be a 60,000. Now as for all the others, they aren't as important, so I won't speak them out loud, but once again, check the screen. So yeah, now we are moving on to the Vegeta fight. And the way that one will work is Vegeta isn't just going to send Nappa off. Oh no. In this case, he senses everyone has surpassed him by this point, besides maybe Chaozu. Chaozu is the only one who has not surpassed Vegeta, but even still, he has surpassed Nappa by this point. So he decides to send Nappa off to hold them off, and gives him the sprouts for the Cybermen as well, so he can plant them and just rush at the Z Fighters by himself. But he isn't just sending him out there for no reason. No. He is charging up a power ball so he can create it, and they will both become Uzarus and they can work together. And nobody is really noticing that. They think Vegeta is just throwing them out there just so he can get killed. And so Goku easily dodges all of Nappa and the Cybermen's attacks and pretty much bodies them all and kills all of them besides Nappa. So when Vegeta creates the power ball, they both transform into their Uzaru state, gaining just about 10 times as much power as they had. Not exactly 10 times, because the power ball does drain some of your energy, and Nappa has been beaten down, so they both kind of, maybe about a 9 times in this case. So with that, you now have Vegeta grabbing onto Kakarot and just squeezing the life out of him, breaking his bones to the point where he can't really do much. Remember, this guy is still insanely more powerful than Goku, even though he has a 60,000 power level. And at the same time, Nappa is just rushing at all the Z Fighters, about ready to completely stomp them. But that's when Chaozu rushes in the way and tries to hold him back with telekinesis, but Nappa was too strong in the original in his base form, and in this case, he's too strong as an Uzaru. And thusly, he completely crushes Chaozu, and they can't bring him back with the Earth Dragon Balls. So because of that, Tenshinhan lashes out in anger and flies into the air, creating a triangle shape with his hands. Krillin yells out for him not to, as it'll just drain him of all of his energy, but Tenshinhan yells that he doesn't care, and that they will pay for hurting Chaozu and Goku. And he uses the multiform to blast all of Vegeta and Nappa's eyes with the Tri-Beam. This completely damages them, and also damages Tenshinhan, allowing Vegeta to drop Goku because his eyes hurt, and they both grab at their eyes. Tenshinhan falls to the ground, and so does Goku. Now, in this case, Goku brought the Senzu Beans early because he wasn't on King Kai's, and thusly you still do have the 2 Senzu Beans. So, Krillin gives one to Tenshinhan, and Goku will get one later, as they do not have enough time to give it to him. So with that, Yajirobe arrives, and Krillin tries to come up with a plan to cut off Vegeta and Nappa's tails. And just whenever Nappa tries to get revenge on Tenshinhan, luckily Yamcha is there to stop him by distracting him with the Spirit Ball, and Nappa turns his eyes to Yamcha and kills him instead. And that just makes Tenshinhan feel even worse. So then, Krillin throws a Destructo Disc, which cuts off Nappa's tail, as this time, nobody is expecting it. Vegeta only jumped over it because Krillin had used it once against Nappa, but in this case, he's just straight up using it on Nappa, and Vegeta is too distracted to do anything. So Nappa goes back into his base form, and Vegeta, in shock, is just staring at him, asking like how that could happen, and that's when Yajirobe comes in from behind and slices off his tail. And with that, both of them in their base forms are going to get completely wrecked. And it's not Piccolo doing it. It will be Tenshinhan. Tenshinhan wants revenge, and he just completely obliterates Nappa, Dodon raying him in the chest. And then you have Vegeta, who puts up a better fight, but ultimately just won't do anything. And Tenshinhan slams Vegeta into the ground, and in the same fashion Nappa did to Chaozu, steps right on him. And this hurts his chest, but he points a Dodon Ray directly at Vegeta's head, killing him. So both Vegeta and Nappa are dead in this timeline, and nobody really had any time to speak up. So then Goku gets a Senzu Bean, and he is brought back to full health immediately, and he even gets a Zenkai boost. So yeah, everybody is pretty much prepared to go to Namek right afterward, as they don't need to fix up the ship. Although this time everybody is going to wait a little bit and decide to get a little bit of training in, kind of recover a little bit first, as it will take a little bit of time for everybody who had minor injuries to recover. So basically, they are going to arrive on Namek early, and it's going to be everybody arriving on Namek. They all do get stronger from doing a little bit of training before they went to Namek, so that's a plus. So because of that, now you have everybody quite a bit stronger, and they're arriving earlier. So instead of Krillin and Gohan arriving when Dodoria was beating up the Namekian warriors, in this case, let's say Dodoria has just arrived, and Piccolo is having none of it. He does not want to see people of his own race get completely destroyed. And so he actually rushes in, grabs Dodoria from behind, throws him into the air, and just kills him with one blast, completely evaporating him. The Namekians thank him, and he apologizes for such a rude entrance, but in the end he did save their lives. So by that point, they tell them that they are looking for the Dragon Balls, and they actually get all the Namekians to get in the cave with Bulma just so that no other warriors come and get them. So that's when Zarbon actually senses Dodoria has died, and there are several high power levels who did it. So he actually tells Frieza to call in Qui and the Ginyu Force, because number one, their scouters are broken, so they're going to need to call in the Ginyu Force, but also Qui might be a little bit of help, as remember, Qui only went in the original because Frieza wanted someone to keep an eye on Vegeta, but in this case Vegeta is not alive. So Frieza calls in the Ginyu Force, and Zarbon calls in Qui himself, and later they will all arrive. But for now, everyone is just collecting the Dragon Balls, and Zarbon is actually hiding away, not doing his job just yet, as he feels that with the Ginyu Force, him and Qui all at once, yeah, they can definitely take these guys. So, with that, now you continue the story, and the Ginyu Force arrive, along with Qui and Zarbon. So, Ginyu grabs the Dragon Balls and starts taking off, but in this case, Nail actually went with the Z Fighters, because in this case, they are much more friendly to the Namekians because they had already met them, so Guru entrusts them with Nail. So because of that, Nail actually follows Ginyu to try to get the Dragon Balls back, but eventually ends up near Frieza, and Piccolo wins his fight with Recoome, but quickly leaves afterward. So because of that, now you have Krillin taking on Goldo, and Krillin is going to completely obliterate Goldo, that isn't even a question, and they pretty much just beat the whole Ginyu Force and Zarbon and Qui, and offer the surviving members to leave the planet, but eventually they try to strike back, thusly making them have to kill them. So they try to give mercy, but it just will not work. So then they chase after Piccolo, Nail, and Ginyu, but they find that Piccolo and Nail are trying to take on Ginyu, but just aren't strong enough, and Frieza is just laughing at this, and he's death beaming Nail and Piccolo in the legs every time they go into attack. They're just completely a laughingstock to him. So because of that, Goku and them arrive, and Frieza grabs the Dragon Balls and tries to take his leave, but Nail realizes that these are his last moments, and he tells Piccolo that he needs to fuse with him, just to make him stronger, as he has pretty much lost all of his fighting energy, and it would be a lot better to have one strong Namekian than just one weak one. So Piccolo reluctantly does this, and it boosts him up to a power level of 600,000. So he immediately rushes after Frieza, trying to get the Dragon Balls back, and Frieza notices on his scouter that his power level is a little bit higher, so he throws the Dragon Balls behind him, and just completely takes off. Piccolo then falls for this trick, grabs the Dragon Balls, and goes back to the fight scene. Piccolo arrives once again back at the fight scene, where he finds Ginyu in Goku's body battling Krillin and Tenshinhan, and Goku damaged in Ginyu's body, but luckily Ginyu goes to switch with Piccolo because he has such great strength, but Goku flies in the way and switches bodies back. He then tries to switch again, but he gets the frog, and that is the end of Ginyu. Now Goku is not going to need to be healed by the healing chamber, as in this case, Goku brought Senzu Beans. Remember, he did that originally. So he actually brought Senzu Beans, and he eats one. And even if there aren't Senzu Beans, then there's always Muri, who has survived in this case. So because of that, Goku actually heals, and I think he would also reach a 600,000, as if you watch Laughingstock Media's video, which I will link in the description on what if Dende had healed Goku, he explains that Saiyan Zenkai boosts are basically trying to get the Saiyans to surpass their highest threat at the moment, which is shown several times, but want to go watch the video, it's linked in the description. You can watch it and see all the evidence. I'm not going to go through it as we do not have enough time. So because of that, now you have Goku at a 600,000 power level as well, which does surpass Frieza. So yeah, they are both very strong, both Piccolo and Goku. They're wishing Chaozu and Yamcha back, but they don't bring them to Namek. But that's when Frieza arrives, and he's in his second form. In this case, when he flew away, he went to power up as he sensed power levels above him. So the Dragon Balls were just a diversion. So now he's in his second form, and Goku and Piccolo, while they are weaker, they are over half of this guy's strength, as remember, he is only over 1 million just by a bit. And so they are holding their own very well. It's just that they're very easy to separate, as their teamwork isn't very good. But eventually they're going to push him to transform into his third form with the help of Tenshinhan and Krillin. So in Frieza's third form, he is just completely annihilating everyone around him, and he just transforms into his fourth form just to show everybody that he is so far above them that even in his third form he can beat them, and in the fourth form he's just so much more powerful. They're literally ants to him. And so Tenshinhan and Krillin give their energy to Piccolo, just like Krillin and Gohan did in the original, and he just tries his best, but at this point, Goku tries to rush in to save him and gets death beamed. And Elder Muri, in this case it's not Dende because Muri was saved, he heals Goku. And with that, Goku goes up to a 3 million power level, surpassing Frieza's 2%. So now Goku is far stronger and just completely annihilates Frieza until he powers up more. But eventually you do get the same whole fight, and Goku does go Super Saiyan after Krillin is killed, but in this case Mori is death beamed instead of Piccolo, and Mori actually does die because he's just so much weaker. But yeah, the entire fight goes the same. Goku ends up on Yardrat, and that is the Frieza saga. But this time, because we saw how much stronger the humans got in the other world training with King Kai in the anime, they were able to beat the Ginyu Force when before they were just fodder to Nappa. And just in like a month or two, they were able to completely destroy the entire Ginyu Force. So in this case, Yamcha and Chaozu far surpass Ten Shinhan and Krillin because they have just been spending the entire time training in Otherworld. They're so much more powerful now. And so Ten Shinhan and Krillin actually decide to go into the Otherworld and train with King Kai during the time when Goku is not there, and so that is when Mecha Frieza and King Cold arrive. But in this case, it's not future Trunks to come stop him. No. In this case, it is future Gohan. We decided to go into the future timeline with this what if, and so since Vegeta does not exist, there will be no future Trunks. Instead, you will have future Gohan. And this future Gohan is very weak to the point where him taking on Mecha Frieza is actually a bit of a challenge for him. And he does end up winning though, because he is just superior in both strength, just by a little bit, and in skill. And in this case, he does have his arm because he doesn't have to sacrifice it for Trunks, because Trunks does not exist and he can focus on his own training. But he does have the scars across his face, just to let you know. So with that, Gohan is not being secretive at all. He's going around explaining who he is to the Z Fighters, as in this case there's nobody they don't really trust because there's no Vegeta. It's literally just the Z Fighters that he already knows. And so they wait for Goku to arrive, and when Goku does arrive, Gohan takes him on, and Goku is actually kind of shocked. Like, why is Gohan so weak when he's a lot older and he's a Super Saiyan? Goku was just beating him, like, down. It's not even a challenge for him. And so that's what Gohan actually tells him that's what he came here to do. Well, that was his second plan anyway. His first plan was to give Goku the heart medicine and warn him of the androids. But his second plan was to stay here and train for the androids. Because not only would that help him train with the Z Fighters and Goku, so he could finally be with his dad again and the other Z Fighters as he hasn't seen them in years, but that will also help him in terms of strength, and he will be able to go fight his own androids if they get strong enough. So, because of that, this time I don't think anybody is skipping out on the training. In the original, Krillin and the humans just completely went off and did what they wanted to do. But in this case, I don't see them doing so, as they are far stronger and future Gohan is there to tempt them. Like, come on, you need to come train with us. And so, Gohan will also be joining in on the training, though not as intensely as he did in the original, because by this point, he doesn't have a taste of battle other than with Raditz, so he'll only be spending maybe 1 year of the training. And that is going to take quite a bit of convincing from Chi-Chi. But with future Gohan being there, I feel like it makes sense. So, everybody is going to be quite a bit stronger. And on top of that, Yamcha knows the Kaioken, because he had been training in King Kai's world the longest, and he is his prime student. So Yamcha actually does know the Kaioken. And so, with that, the gang is just going to be a lot stronger. And so, by the time the androids show up, I don't see Goku being affected by the heart virus, as future Gohan is there to pretty much tell him, like, hey, you're sick. Like, I'm pretty sure future Gohan would pay attention to his present father and make sure, like, as soon as he starts coughing, I'm giving him the medicine. We are not risking his death. He does not want the same tragedy to be repeated. And so with that, Goku is actually not going to need anyone to step in for him against Android 19, and he will actually beat him himself, as he's not weakened. He's just so much stronger than 19, he just completely obliterates him. And so with that, Android 20 decides to make a dust cloud and just completely escapes. He is not losing this fight. He was way over his high horse, thinking he could beat them, but now there's 2 Super Saiyans. He is not risking it, and he heads back to his lab. And he just barely makes it in time, just so that way he can get the androids out, and 17 kills him. So then, 17, 18, and 16 all go outside, and this is where things start to take a turn. Goku is here for this fight, and so is Gohan. Literally all the Z Fighters are. And since Goku is here, and a certain android, 16, is here, you know what's gotta happen. Android 16 is going to try to kill Goku. And in this case, I don't think anyone would be able to stop him. He is just so much more powerful. I mean, come on, he was stronger than 17, and Piccolo was about even with 17, and Piccolo was stronger than anybody. It was literally stated that he was stronger than any of the Super Saiyans. So this 16 will actually complete his mission, and he will kill Goku. But that's when Gohan flares out. Not future Gohan, the present Gohan. He is so angry that someone would kill his father and hurt all of his friends right in front of him. The androids are just toying with everybody. And they could leave at any point, but no, he can't let this happen. He completely rages out, and he screams into the air, just like he did when he went Super Saiyan 2. But in this case, he doesn't have those forms, and he only ends up a Super Saiyan. But it doesn't matter, because he has rage inside of him, and it's just bursting more and more. And he rushes at 16, and just completely obliterates him with a Masenko. That is it. And then he just goes back into his base form, because he could not handle that power and that rage all at once. It was just so much for him. He could not withstand it. And so the androids actually are angry that 16 was basically their brother, and so they go in to kill the Z Fighters. But that's when future Gohan grabs the present Gohan, and Tenshinhan and Krillin both do a solar flare, completely blinding the androids, and they all zoom off. So now they're on the lookout, and their guardian is still Kami. So that is not very good. But in this case, Kami is a lot stronger, so I do see Piccolo actually going to fuse with him, as now they are going to need to defeat the androids, and none of them are strong enough. So that does happen. Piccolo goes to investigate, and now they need to figure out how to bring Goku back, which they can do him with the Dragon Balls, sure, but they really can't though, because Goku doesn't want to come back. He literally just watched his son do exactly what he thought he would do. Remember, Goku in the Buu saga and toward the end of the Cell saga, he wanted Gohan or the next generation or somebody. He wanted the next generation to carry this out for him. He didn't want to have to keep on doing it. He wanted to awaken the potential within the next generation, and he just saw it in action. There's no reason for him to come back. They can handle it, clearly. But Goku does not know the true threat. It wasn't 16 or even the androids. It was Cell, and Piccolo finds him, but Cell manages to escape, and Piccolo goes to fight the androids. And in this case, 17 and 18 are both going to challenge him, so future Gohan, Tenshinhan, Krillin, and Yamcha are all going to take on the androids alongside Piccolo. And that just feeds Cell even more. He immediately realizes where they are and absorbs 17. So, with that though, they are going to lose the fight with Cell, as Cell is going to manage to absorb 18 as well. Even though Tenshinhan is trying his best, in this case there's no Goku, so Tenshinhan will die because there's no instant transmission, so Tenshinhan is dying in this case. And Piccolo is going to be near death, but luckily because Cell arrives sooner, Piccolo is not as damaged, and also because there's other Z Fighters backing him up the entire fight. So Cell does manage to absorb both 17 and 18 and becomes perfect. Thusly, he announces the Cell Games, and he tells everyone they have 10 days to go train. So with that, everybody goes back onto the lookout and figures out how they are going to train. And that's when Popo tells them about the time chamber, and in this case, future Gohan is going to go in the time chamber along with Piccolo, and Goku is going to go in the time chamber with Gohan. What? I know, that sounds crazy, right? Doesn't it? But Baba is actually going to bring Goku back, because Goku decides, alright, maybe Gohan needs just a little bit more training so he can refine his Super Saiyan and become a lot stronger. And it would also affect him too. So going in the time chamber, he'll just be there for the day, and that'll be it. He'll go back, and they'll have to deal with Cell themselves. So it's not that big of a deal for him. So yeah, they end up training in the time chamber, and in this case, Gohan is going to reach Super Saiyan 2 a lot sooner, though he's not going to be able to control it. Very much like what happened in the anime when he actually did reach Super Saiyan 2, he just never knew how to tap into it. But everybody is mastering Super Saiyan. Future Gohan, Goku, and Gohan. And even the humans go in the time chamber together. So, with that, the Cell Games arrive, and Goku is no longer there. So now it's up to the gang to handle it themselves, and it is future Gohan challenging Cell first. But unfortunately, that will not be going well for him, as future Gohan is far weaker than Cell. Even with the grade 4 form, he is just so much weaker. And so next is Gohan, and Gohan is just getting beat as well. He can't even win. It's not working. Nothing is working. And Cell is angry, and he creates the Cell Juniors to go fight the Z Fighters, and in this case they're holding off better, yeah, but they're still losing. And that is not good. In this case, he is just going to Death Beam future Gohan right in the heart. So Gohan can see one of his idols completely gone right in front of him. Not Android 16. Gohan himself from the future. Gohan is watching, as his future self falls to the ground, lifeless, and closes his eyes, and completely rages out, screams into the air. He is angry. He wants revenge. He will not let this stand. And he transforms into a Super Saiyan 2, completely obliterates Cell. Cell is not even a challenge for him. He's throwing him aside. But in this case, he's taking it seriously. He doesn't care about making him suffer. He doesn't think he deserves a long death. He deserves to die right then and there. And that's exactly what Gohan does, completely killing him. And so, Cell dies when they think he dies, and the gang brings back future Gohan after they go to Namek and bring Dende there, who is now the new guardian of Earth. It's just that this time now their wishes are a bit expanded upon. Like now they can bring back people more than once. So yeah, that's the end of the Cell Saga. And now we shall move on to the Buu Saga, in which Goten doesn't exist, Trunks doesn't exist, the humans are still training, Vegeta doesn't exist, and maybe even Yamcha and Bulma are together by this point. I mean, Yamcha's just so much stronger and so epic now. He's got the Kaioken. He could still be with Bulma, but that's up to you guys. Honestly, it doesn't really matter too much. So, with that though, Gohan is not going to relent in his training. Sure, he will kind of hold back, he's going to be training to keep himself in shape. That way he can stay in Super Saiyan 2, nothing is going to really change, because in this case, Vegeta isn't the defender of Earth, because Vegeta does not exist. Gohan is the strongest one there, and he needs to make sure of it. So yeah, let's go right into the Buu Saga. She's going to be starting off with Videl actually hating him, because they are going to be completely covered in press. Both Gohan, the Z Fighters, and Chi-Chi, they are completely covered in press, and that is not good because that takes away from Mr. Satan. And the reason they are is because Mr. Satan is never proclaimed to have beaten Cell, as this is all on camera. And so Gohan wins, and that means he is going to be completely just overrun in press and people like that. So that is not good for their family, but Gohan, he becomes the Great Saiyan Man and fights crime on his own. And Videl actually hates him. She does not like him at all. And so she isn't even going to get training. She's just going to confront him, try to fight him, and lose. And so when Goku announces that he will be back for the tournament, everyone enters, and Videl even enters, but she is going to be completely obliterated by Spopovich. If she wasn't in the first place, now she definitely is. Because remember, she got training with Gohan and learned how to master Ki and all that, and she still got wrecked. In this case, she isn't even doing any of that. She's just a prodigy human, but she doesn't know how Ki works, so she's going to lose even harder. And with that, Gohan isn't even going to rage out, which means Spopovich and Yamu don't get their energy from Gohan. Instead, they just start escaping, and they leave. And since they're leaving, the gang decides to go check that out, but that's when Dabura actually spits on Krillin and Piccolo, and still gets them covered in stone. But in this case, when the fights happen, it is going to be Goku, Gohan, and Yamcha. Yes, Yamcha will be fighting. Isn't that amazing? But Yamcha is going first. They decide Yamcha is pretty much the weakest of the group, but he is still insanely powerful, so Yamcha will take on Pui Pui and just completely annihilate him with the Kaioken. From there, Goku is taking on Yakon and beating him the exact same way. And Gohan is taking on Dabura, but in this case he's stronger, as he did a little bit of extra training just so he could impress his father at the tournament. So Gohan actually beats down Dabura, and Dabura dies a lot quicker. So with that though, Babidi has just been absorbing the energy the entire time, but it's just not enough. It really isn't. Buu is not coming out, and so he tries to control somebody's mind, but it just isn't going to work, and none of them want to give in. And so Babidi is killed, and Buu is never released. And that is the end of the Buu Saga, and also the end of Part 1. Goku is staying dead because he thinks that the next generation can still win. There's no turning point for him. He thinks the next generation can still win, because in his eyes they can, and they have as well. Against Cell, against Buu, it's that easy. So yeah, Goku is not needed, and that is going to be the end of Part 1. So I hope you guys definitely go subscribe to Ultimate ADJ. I could not have come up with this idea and actually put in work to it without him, as he gave several good points, and I hope you guys go subscribe to him and see Part 2 when it comes out, which will completely cover all of Super. And yeah, just go subscribe to him, subscribe to me, but as always, tell me what you thought of this What If. Tell me what you think will happen next. Comment down below your requests for future videos, and like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.